Talking about the heavy tea road.
Go ahead, player. What's up?
I'm getting into bloom. I just put my plants into bloom, and it's getting to about the time where it's going to start being odorous. And I kind of need some tips on what to do about that.
All right.
You got a cat?
Well, charcoal filters. Lay down the CFM and what he needs to do.
I'd get a cat.
Well, first and foremost, are you in a sealed room or not?
Just use a cat, have it spray, and poop around the garden, and you won't smell nothing but cat poop and
Okay.
nastiness.
That's very funny,
Would be
Duff.
nice, yeah.
Very, very original.
It is.
I'm in the sealed
Tried it?
room. I built walled off a room.
Is it air conditioned and dehumidified?
Well, it's not sealed. No, actually, it's I just made a room anyway.
Okay, so you're bringing in fresh outside air into your garden, right?
Yes, I am.
Are you pulling the air through your reflectors and blowing it out of the room with a vent at the bottom of the floor to let cool air in?
Yes, there's a vent at the bottom, and I'm pulling it through the hood.
Do you have a dust room on that vent?
Actually, no. I should be getting one here pretty soon.
Pantyhose work better.
Yeah, you should definitely have one of those. It's going to keep all that mold, mildew, and any pests out of your garden, and you don't want that stuff coming in. So what you're going to need to do is, are you pulling the air through your reflectors or just from the room?
I'm exhausting the air through the reflector.
So you're going through, how many reflectors are you going through?
Just one with a 1,000-watt double-ended.
Okay, and what you're running a air-cooled 1,000-watt double-ended?
Yeah.
Okay, and then my final question, I guess, to you is going to be, what is the size of the room in dimensions, width, height, and length of the actual room?
8 foot tall, 6 by 9.
Okay, so you're at about 450 roughly cubic feet there.
Yep.
You're gonna want to be able to exhaust that amount of air every 1 to 2 minutes. And by adding a charcoal filter to it, you're also going to be putting a restriction on the actual filter because of the pressure of having to pull the air through that carbon. So you're probably going to want to run at least a 600 or 700 CFM fan in there. What type of fan are you running now?
I'm running a Hurricane 6-inch.
That's about 450.
Yeah, that's a little bit light. I would suggest you go up to a 10-inch fan. A max fan would be good. What's the of that little blue?
That's like 1,075. I think an 8-inch at 675.
8-inch
That's
at
under
675?
pressure rating too.
Okay,
So if he's at
8-inch
450, we go down 20%, so we take off roughly 140 CFM off that 675. He's going to be recycling all that air about every minute.
Okay, then yeah, you should. Okay, I'd step to the 8-inch then and add yourself a charcoal filter, and you probably want to go with a canned charcoal filter.
Yeah,
too.
the real deal. The pelletized charcoal, it's going to be heavier. They use a glue, but it's uniform inputs for the organic odors. The charcoal actually absorbs the odor, and virgin charcoal, like the can light or the fresh filters, what they do is they take charcoal, they stuff it into a can filter. Well, you don't have a uniform amount of inputs, right? So, like 5 different size of odor molecules. I think isn't that what Dennis said? 5.
I think so. Yeah.
And so you have
Bigger gaps.
Mix and match of how many inputs there are. So let's say that you fill up all the inputs, but there's still different size molecules that need to be absorbed. The virgins won't absorb it. The pelletized will. You're going to spend a little bit more. Some people don't like using the glue, but they last longer, and they're going to do the job for you. If discretion is your paramount concern at this point, then the can filter, like a can 66 or even up to a can 100, you need to match the filter with the CFM of the fan. You can't just get the biggest filter and put a little fan on it. It's not going to work. You have to let the filter match to allow the amount of air that you want through going through it, but also not to be so light that it doesn't cause a turbulence as it goes through. You want the charcoal to be moving and scrubbing, and that's what it does when you match those up right. A good hydro store should be able to hook you up with that and match them right, but from a can 66 up to a can 100 with a max fan 8-inch, you should be fine.
Okay. Are there any tips you might have for if you don't quite have the money for one of those things? Because they're quite expensive.
You could
like a stopgap, maybe.
you could exhaust the air back into your house and just burn a bunch of candles and have a bunch of Ona gel going. Incense mon.
Those can fans are, as long as you keep your humidity down, they'll last about a year, dude. There's no half-ass way of getting around it. Those odor molecules are out. They're going through every crack. They're going through every vent. You know, if you're standing out front of your house and you're concerned about all the organic odors pouring out, you know, maybe you're using some nasty, stinky stuff, or not nasty, but just some stinky stuff that you're concerned that maybe your neighbors aren't going to be too happy with what you're using. You need to filter the air. That's the best way to do it. Use ozone generators. Yeah, you're still going to spend a couple $100, and they're super unhealthy for you to be around. It's basically, if you breathe them, they're going to be like breathing smog continuously. They also remove the odors off of your plants. In your eyes, your nose, your mouth, it actually oxidates it and turns those waters into bleaches. It's not something you want to be using. Ona's cool by the front door when the pizza man comes, and he's not like, oh, hey, bruh, what's up? You got that in my gold, huh, bruh? Right? So you got to make sure that doesn't happen, but the fail-safe way to do it is the charcoal filters.
Yeah, and if you have to, go pawn something that you own and get your charcoal filter, because it's going to be a lot cheaper in the long run than going to jail.
And maybe you shouldn't have asked for that Xbox 3 or whatever and got a charcoal filter.
And not only is it cheaper than going to jail, but as soon as someone visits your home, then everything in there that's worth anything, they say that it's because of what you're doing, and they take everything, and then you can't even pawn anything you have left to get bail money.
Except that sweet mustache can't take that from Horty Chris.
That's right. You have to pluck it out one hair at a time.
From my cold, dead lips.
From my cold, dead face. With a slice of pizza in my hand.
Having tea, road.
You're listening to DFZRadio.com.